South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rockin' dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Welcome in. Good morning, everyone. It's Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio. I'm Jeff Parles. She is Alex White. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning. How was your weekend?
It was eventful. Let's just go with that. It was the annual punt-off of money for me on the Kentucky Derby, as we know. The annual punt-off. Even though, I will say, the 3-horse, who was the number 2 pick for me, if that horse did not get off to such a brutal start, it would have been had a shot. Ended up finishing 4th, of course. Sovereignty over journalism. That's not a metaphor for the current times, but that was the horse race on Saturday at the Kentucky Derby. Again, in the end, 2 of the 3 favorites. Yeah. Sovereignty ran a hell of a race and just beat out journalism to win the Kentucky Derby, and hopefully we'll see Sovereignty in 2 weeks in Baltimore.
And our guest coming up had both of those horses, if I'm not mistaken.
Dwayne Colucci I have to confirm with Dwayne when he's on in legitimately 3.5 minutes from now. That was, I'm pretty sure, brought up on the show that he does in Baton Rouge with Mr. Ott down there, and also brought up in the seminar up at the Rampart on Friday.
Wow.
Shout out Dwayne. Remember, he was concerned about Sandman.
Yes.
It was the number 17. The number 17 didn't win again, once again in the Derby. But the weekend that was, Alex, before Dwayne joins us, amazing duet of Game 7s in the Stanley Cup playoffs, 2 historic comebacks, and those 2 teams will play each other in Game 1 on Wednesday. We won't break that series down in whole yet. You still have to go through your series prices, and we'll get Dallas and Winnipeg. But, Alex, those 2 third periods in both of those games, Dallas down 2-0, winning 4-2 in regulation. Only a 4-point third period for Mikko Rantanen against his former team.
Right.
And then Winnipeg with the latest game-tying goal in a Game 7 in Stanley Cup playoff history. By the way, in the 200th Game 7 in the history of the Stanley Cup playoffs as well. And then they end up winning in a double overtime 4-3 after being down 3-1 with less than two minutes to go in regulation.
Pretty crazy. And you brought up Brandon. I mean, outstanding game for him against his former team. And then Wyatt Johnston, 21 years old, 3rd Game 7 for him, and had a goal in every single one of them. So very impressive. That team is getting healthier and healthier as they go through this. So good news for them. But Winnipeg, wow. I thought they might have a shot, and then after that whole third period, time had almost run out, and then found a way to force overtime there. So we'll see. We'll see if Connor Hellebuck has gotten some of those demons out of his head, but it seemed like he was in good form in overtime, but we'll see how that carries through.
Yeah, it was interesting for Hellebuck last night, who was really, to give up, again, the first goal was just kind of like one of those weird plays where everything got screwed up and St. Louis was able to capitalize on. Won't put it on Hellebuck completely. There was a lot of things that went wrong on that play across the board. Then you give up a short-sided goal like you did the second goal in the first 5 minutes of regulation. Like,
Yep.
Kind of was actually surprised they didn't pull him right away. And you know, a credit to Winnipeg's coaching staff keeping their horse in the net. And other than that, it was a pretty goal by Fatsa at the end of the second period, and then Hellebuck was great in the third and great in the two overtimes. Again, Cole Perfetti's goal with 2.7 seconds to go in regulation forced the overtime, and then Adam Lowry got the winner off with the deflection to get Winnipeg through. Also this weekend, including the horse race, as we already mentioned, NBA playoffs. Game 7 in Denver on Saturday was a laughing stock of a game. Denver just blew out the Clippers, another classic James Harden Game 7 disaster class. Really, in the end, a disaster class by the Clippers, who, I mentioned it at the beginning of the series, it was Game 1. That was the series.
Yeah.
You had to win Game 1 on the road in their building, and Clippers, who had a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter, blew the game, and they ended up losing the series because of it. And now, we'll get into it a little bit later in the show with Dwayne. We got a really darn good series, a 1v4 in the West with Oklahoma City and Denver taking each other on. Only a 1 day off rest for the Nuggets. That'll also be the case with Golden State, who we'll talk about later.
Really, in the end, both teams, Golden State and the Nuggets, helped take over for that Game 7. And now we'll see. I mean, this is going to be very tough matchups for them with OKC. And then on the other side, with Minnesota. First time Golden State is an underdog in a series since Steve Kerr has taken over there.
That is unbelievable. You said that was on Get Up this morning.
It was.
I'm floored by that. And I was thinking, really, realistically speaking, of course, at the beginning of the run, that makes sense. I mean, they won the title their first year with Kerr as the coach. They had the 73-win team the year after that. Of course, we know what happened in the finals. They were favored in all those. Then you get Durant. Favored all those playoff series, even with a not healthy Durant at the end of that run. And they didn't make the playoffs in 2021 in 2020, they didn't even make the bubble. 2021, they didn't make the playoffs. They lost in the play-in tournament. Yep. I guess it makes sense. The only one I would have thought was 2 years ago against the Lakers. Golden State did have home court in that series, which I had forgotten. Lakers were the 7, Warriors were the 6 in that one. And then speaking of the Warriors, as you said, first time they were a dog under Kerr. They got it done against the Rockets. Pretty ugly Game 7. Just a total grinder like we are accustomed to seeing in these NBA Game 7s. But that pricing yesterday was bizarre. The Rockets closed the favorite in that game. I a little bit aggravated myself that I didn't take a little more of the Warriors in that Game 7. 103-89. They get it done and advance to take on Minnesota, who's been waiting for him for about a week now.
I could definitely see both sides because on one side, it looked like Houston Rockets had figured something out, right? And first 2 games were just kind of off of their game. And then getting those wins to force the Game 7, you're like, okay, did they figure out this Golden State Warriors team? But in the end, I was on the Warriors because of the experience. And Steph Curry didn't even have to have one of his historical Game 7s in this one. So it was definitely a team effort for them in that one. But going to have their hands full here against the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, T-Wolves home court, 6v7, just the third time in NBA playoff history, but the second time in 3 years that a 6 and 7 will play each other. The Warriors were in that one 2 years ago. Lakers ended up beating them. The 7-seeded Lakers beat the 6-seeded Warriors in the playoffs 2 years ago before the Lakers got throttled by the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals before the Nuggets went on to win their first NBA championship. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to make sure we hear Kaluch. When we get back, we'll look back at the weekend that was on the track at Churchill Downs with Dwayne, and we'll also look at ahead. The 3 of the 4 Stanley Cup playoff series and 3 of the 4 NBA series to break down with Dwayne when we get back. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles. I got to fix my headset. That looks ridiculous. Alex White is here as well. And now joining us, the one and only Dwayne Colucci, race and sportsbook director up at the Rampart. Dwayne, you had a pretty darn good weekend with the Kentucky Derby, huh?
Yeah, it was solid. I'll tell you, what a great race. And the only thing would have been better if Baeza would have won the race, but it was a fabulous race. The three horses that I had a good feeling about basically did run 1, 2, 3. The favorite, I tried to buck. He ran second. He ran a very good race. Rispoli gave a good ride. It was a solid running of the Kentucky Derby. Like I said, Sovereignty, just amazing. Junior Alvarado, Bill Mott. Bill Mott gets another victory, but his first one was when he got put up, when Maximum Security got taken down. So this is a true victory for Bill Mott, Junior Alvarado. Great horse. On the fence now, I'm hearing for the Preakness. Might not go after the Triple Crown, which is a little shocking to me. But I think ownership might step in and change that perception. But just a fabulous handle day overall. The sportsbook was packed. I couldn't believe it. It was amazing. Come race time, everybody was standing around. It wasn't you couldn't move near the bar. It was just incredible. And I thank all my patrons for coming out because, I'm a huge horse racing advocate and we took care of everybody. Nobody got shut out. It was a good time and just a great race. And like you said, at the seminar, I did give out Baeza, but Sovereignty was my second choice. And we had journalism in the tries and supers and also gave out the 3-horse as a long shot who closed out that superfecta. So, if you paid attention at the seminar, Bob Ike gave out journalism. We were all over this super and trifecta and definitely the top 3 finishers. And it was just a fabulous race despite having that off track, the mud and the slop all over the place.
Third Triple Crown win for Bill Mott. As you said, it's the first one in the Kentucky Derby, not via disqualification. Again, Dwayne, that disqualification of Maximum Security handing that to Country House has caused a multi-year fiasco for me with betting the Kentucky Derby. So
it cost me a fortune that day.
That was
it was like my rough. Best bet of the year, Max.
No, I mean he won pretty easily and gets DQ'd. Of course, the only other one that he's won was with Drosselmeyer in the 2010 Belmont Stakes, which I had to look up because I was like, what horse was that? Wasn't a Triple Crown potential year, so it kind of goes out the window sometimes with the Belmont.
He was a good distance horse, Drosselmeyer, but, a lot of those Belmont stake horses, they never win a race after that. It's such a unique distance. And now this year it's different because it's at Saratoga again. So you have the shorter distance. And a lot of people, say, do you put an asterisk if this Sovereignty does happen to win the Triple Crown just because of the fact that he's not running a mile and a half over Big Sandy? That's what Belmont Park's nickname is. And Belmont is just, a huge facility in comparison to Saratoga, much tighter turns, and really can't even get the mile and a half distance there at Saratoga. So it's going to be interesting to see how Sovereignty does.
Well, at least they're not running it at Aqueduct, Dwayne.
True.
True.
My old stomping ground.
Hey, look, that's the first place I saw a horse race also. So that's one that will always at least be near and dear to me, regardless of how it's falling apart on a daily basis. Alex, we got hockey to get to here, though.
We do have hockey. We are starting a series tonight. Of course, we've got Florida and Toronto. Florida, well, actually, kind of the theme of this second round, Dwayne, is the road teams seem to be the favorites, even though, of course, they don't have home ice here. How do you feel about that? Let's start off with this one with Florida in game one, minus 120 here.
Yeah, very tough game. I mean, Toronto put away Ottawa, which we anticipated. I know Jeff is happy with that outcome.
Thank goodness.
And Toronto, maybe, now they might be able to have a chance here because you have home ice, but this team is amazing, Florida. We've seen them run the table last year, basically. Tkachuk is playing at a high level. Bobrovsky is amazing. It's just so tough to beat this Florida Panther team because they're so deep, and the Maple Leafs are like a heartbeat. Some nights they show up, other nights, where's Mitch Marner? Where's, Nylander? What is Austin Matthews thinking and doing? And they need massive goaltender play to outplay Bobrovsky. So this is going to be a tough series, Alex. This is why you're seeing the road team as the favorite. And, naturally, it is the defending Stanley Cup champion. And we look at the puck line. He is very enticing with the minus 1.5 and plus 210, but you're on the road. So you have to be careful. Toronto may be finding their stride, but they're running into a buzzsaw right now.
I think I'm going to take my shot here with Toronto at even money for game one. Just kind of take it game by game, but with home ice, have some momentum. Of course, they had a little scare there going all the way to 7 games, but I do think that they should be a slight favorite here in this first one. But, I mean, Dwayne makes a great point. This is the defending Stanley Cup champion.
Again, I'm waiting for Florida to run out of gas, but they just dispatched of an absurdly good team in as easy a fashion as you're ever going to see.
It's hard to run out of gas when your best player sat the last 2 months. That LTIR rule, and it's so hard for Stolarz to outplay Bobrovsky, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue.
That's the issue. That's the issue. And, you want this team to run out of gas. You're waiting, but it just doesn't happen. It's a difficult team to get a read on how they're so strong as they start to win playoff series, is where you would think the Maple Leafs, the much younger team and roster, would have that youth and energy.
I will say the winner of this series ends up making the Cup final out of the East. I feel pretty good about that, regardless of, again, Carolina. We'll get to Carolina in a second. I think they're vastly overrated. I'm with Alex on that.
I agree.
And the Caps are really good, and if Logan Thompson keeps playing like this, it's going to be a hard out, but we'll see. Again, better competition. We'll see how Thompson does. But we might as well just go to that other series in the East while it's on the board here. By the way, Toronto is a plus 160 underdog in the series, minus 180 on Florida. I am already on Toronto at plus 165 at a different shop. I'm going to go down with the ship on this one here, Dwayne. That's all I'll say. Going down with, stick to
it's good value, Jeff. Yeah. I mean, you have home ice, let's put it that way, and you're getting tremendous value. So when you're betting, you have to always survey the market, which you did, get a plus 165, see what you could do with it. And, just hope that Bobrovsky has a few bad games and Barkov or some of those other guys start to mentally collapse, but I look at their roster. It's so strong. I mean, you look at these guys, it's Verhaeghe is there. You have Reinhardt. It's so many good players, and they've been there and they've been in this situation last year. So that's what makes it difficult. Whereas Toronto, if you do get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Are they going to get shell-shocked in that series, even if you play Carolina? That's the whole point, is that a young team, and that Florida has a better coaching staff, it's very difficult. That's why you're seeing that big inflated number that us bookmakers put out there, even though they don't have home ice.
Going to the other one. And this is the theme with this round. Alex mentioned it. The team with home ice not favored in any of these series here at the South Point and Up and Near Shop. And this one is my favorite underdog, and it is Washington for the series at plus 160. And I also like them tonight tomorrow night as a plus 105 dog. Be interested to see how that moves around. But Dwayne, what are your thoughts here? Carolina minus 170. Caps plus 150, as a underdog with home ice here in round 2.
Well, like you said, I think the winner of the other series probably will represent the Eastern Conference, just because of the fact that I believe Carolina is vastly overrated, and both teams didn't have, major competition. They were missing. Montreal was missing so many pieces. They're a very young, youthful, energetic team, but when you lose Sam Montembeault early in that series, that definitely played into Washington's favor, and we don't have to talk about Jack Hughes not playing for the Devils. So, that was an easy shoe-in series, and now they've been getting complacent and sitting around Carolina, so who knows what energy they're going to bring to the table. That Washington is very strong at times. They play a physical, roughhouse game. Logan Thompson is a monster in between the pipes, and definitely the better goaltender, if you ask me, in this series going in, because of the way he's currently playing. And if he continues to play that way, it's definitely going to be difficult for Carolina. Ovechkin's looking to go out on a winning note. He probably will play next year, but the more Stanley Cup victories he could get, it's just another notch in the holster or a notch in the belt. And definitely, Alex is one of the greatest goal scorers I ever seen. Wilson has been playing very physical. He was physical in that Montreal series, and definitely, they got some superior play from their defense and Logan Thompson. Montreal threw everything but the kitchen sink out there. You saw Demidov got better as the series went on. Cole Caulfield was shooting all over the place. Suzuki at Thompson was amazing. Some of those games were just phenomenal saves that he made to put Montreal on the cusp and then eliminate them when they were missing Montembeault and had to go to Dobish. So credit to Washington, credit to their coaching staff. They're playing at a high level. I think this series is going to be easier than some people anticipate, unless Aho goes crazy and, Anderson and Kochetkov play very well. We'll see how that pans out.
I would like to be getting a little bit more than plus 150 for the Caps. Even though I've been on them all year, my number is right there for the series price with Carolina and the Caps here. Game 1, though, it's a lean to the under there at that plus 105. I do trust both of these goalies with Logan Thompson and Frederik Andersen, so should be a good one. This series, I don't know, Dwayne. I think it might go kind of far. I think this could be a 7-game series here between these two.
Yeah, it's definitely possible, Alex. I mean, Carolina is very strong. I mean, you look at their roster, they're built, they have strong defense as well with Burns and Gostisbehere. They have a lot of, veteran leadership, but the Capitals have more, in my opinion. And I just think that if Ovechkin starts to score and they start to light the lamp, you start to spread it around, it's going to be a very difficult series. And keep in mind that last game, Kochetkov played. So you don't know what the goaltenders are going to bring to the table from Carolina, where what Logan Thompson, as long as he's healthy, is going to do. And Logan has been phenomenal. I mean, I've seen him here firsthand for how many seasons with the Vegas Golden Knights. I said this time and time again, I wanted Montreal to grab him when he was available out there prior to the start of the season, and he panned out fabulous. He had a rough go at the end of the season, but he was a little banged up. He had that head injury, and now he seems to have all his faculties back. Some of those saves were just tremendous. And like I said, the Devils really didn't bring their A game. Carolina was playing a team that was missing, one of the top 5 possible players in the NHL. And when you take that off your roster and, they kind of knew what they were going to bring into the playoffs, it was an advantage for Carolina. I think Washington had the tougher series and Montreal came in ready to play, but Washington just was superior.
Going to the West, let's start just down the road from both of us, Dwayne. Knights, Oilers, second time in 3 years. Of course, the Oilers were vanquished by the Knights en route to Vegas's Cup 2 years ago. Game 1 price on the bottom of your screen. VGK's minus 35. Total of 6. It's a coin flip here at the South Point and Up at Ear Shop on a Rampart for the series price. Call me a homer. I like Vegas in this series. I'm just going to trust the better goaltending, regardless of who's in net for Edmonton. Hill has a big advantage, whether it's Pickard and, God forbid, we see Skinner, then it's a gigantic advantage for VGK, and they have home ice. I think it's simple as that, Dwayne.
Yeah, definitely. And as long as Eichel starts getting going, forget, you know how I feel about this Edmonton team. I mean, they're like just, I don't understand how they get so lucky. I don't know what the Kings were thinking. They had that series and they just, collapsed. But Edmonton can make you do that. I have to give some credit where credit is due. McDavid, Draisaitl, just beasts out there. You got Kane back on the roster now. But Vegas, we have to keep your eyes open on Deforiev, how healthy he is. There's a lot of guys that could get banged up real quick on that Vegas Golden Knight roster, and we have to keep an eye on it. But like you said, whether it's Picard or Skinner, Aiden Hill is much better. He's in another league. I mean, Aiden Hill has Stanley Cups. These guys, they fight each other for a position. So I think Aiden Hill is definitely the X factor. He's been playing really well. He played well at the end of the series against Minnesota. And, Mark Stone is just playing rejuvenated, some key goals there, just amazing. Thomas Hertl, they have a great roster that flew under the radar this year. Now you have so many assets, and Carlson is back, Riley Smith is back, so many good players. And, if their defense holds up, they're a little, aging on the blue line, but that's the whole factor. Can Edmonton really exploit that? McDavid's going to try to. Draisaitl's a scoring machine against the Vegas Golden Knights. Stay out of the penalty box, Vegas. That's the whole key. Do not let that power play on the ice for extended amounts of time. You will find yourself playing catch up because Edmonton will put up some big scores if they're on the power play often.
I do like how Vegas, the leaders definitely stepped up in the last 2 games. We saw Eichel score, Mark Stone, even Carlson there that can really get them going. I do like Vegas. If you're looking at the side, looking at this first game, Dwayne, I'm curious what you think. So these two split in the regular season, 3-1 to the under. We're seeing a 6 here, but I mean, what can we do with Edmonton? So many goals in that first series against the Kings. Only 1 game stayed under, and they were very high-scoring games. So how do you expect this one to go? We know Vegas wants to be defensive-oriented here.
Yeah, and they have to set the tone. It's like I said, Alex, you got to stay out of the penalty box. If you don't stay out of the penalty box, you're going to be in a lot of trouble, and then the game could easily go over. It's total of 6 minus 120. Shaded to the over. Even it could still go over, even if the Golden Knights play great defense, if they start to score. So, yeah, maybe the game could go over here without a doubt, especially if Eichel starts to score, like you said, Hertl, Carlson, they start lighting the lamp, and then McDavid and Draisaitl get a couple, and the empty net. Yeah, this could easily go over, definitely. There's a possibility.
Dwayne, real quick, Alex will have her official look at Winnipeg and Dallas on tomorrow's show, but this is another one that I think is a little bit insanely priced. Also, I know that the Jets, I don't want to say they got lucky at the end, but look, you're down 2 goals with 2 minutes to go in regulation of Game 7. You are not supposed to be here. And here they are. They end up salvaging it. They win it in double overtime. Plus 150 with the President's Trophies winners with home ice against a team that's banged up that just needed 7 games also. And Colorado's a lot better than St. Louis. I get that too. But this price seems a little bit out of whack to me, Dwayne. That Dallas is $1.70 in this series.
You're right. This is a team that limped into the playoffs. They started off real slow. Now they're playing well. It's a great goaltender matchup. Jake Ottinger against Connor Hellebuck. Let's not forget Ottinger. He's a beast. Yep. That's why you see in the 5.5 here. And Winnipeg was life and death. 2 seconds. And they really don't have a high-powered offense. This was a team, on the other hand, St. Louis, that had to go on a massive winning streak to get going and to get into the playoffs. So, it works both ways. This is, I think, the price is a little out of whack, but I could see why Dallas, as they start, they beat Colorado. Keep that in mind. Colorado was the team that everybody was fearing was going to run the table, run over the Golden Knights, run over Edmonton, and Dallas beat them. So Rantanen played fabulous. You saw that. It's going to be very difficult for, Winnipeg to score a lot against Ottinger, if you ask me. Plus, they're starting to get healthy. I saw Robertson skating around. If Dallas starts to get some of these players back, it becomes even more and more of a grind for Winnipeg, who are life and death to get at it, to win a playoff series. Keep that in mind. Dallas wins playoff series in the past. Winnipeg, this is like a new taste and a new flavor. Scheifele's got to be healthy. You don't know what's going to happen there. I like Dallas in this series, but it's like a coin toss. I mean, how do you feel confident on a team that lost 9 in a row going into the playoffs and then lost the first 2 games? I think it was a huge mistake bringing Landeskog back in that series. Hindsight is 2020, but I said that as soon as he was on the ice. Even though you think he could, whatever, he really was just out there and dragging, it looked like to me. What did he have? 1 or 2 points in the whole series. I didn't think that was the right formula. I think Dallas started to find their legs. Great coach in Peter DeBoer, but let's see if he could win the big one.
Dwayne's right. 8 straight unders between these two. It didn't matter if it was 5.5 or 6. And really, Jets got the best of the Stars in the regular season this year. Dallas struggled to score against them. So under 5.5, I think that's the play here on this first game.
Wednesday for that. So we'll get plenty of time to break it down over the next 2 days. All right, to the association, Dwayne. Let's start with your Knicks. They're huge underdogs against Boston, which is not much of a surprise. Celtics tonight are 9-point favorites with a total of 213. The series price, Boston is only $8 favorites in this one, with a plus 550 on the Knicks on the take-back. Dwayne, you give the Knicks any shot here? You give them a chance to make this an interesting series because, quite frankly, I don't. I think this is over in 5 with just a gentleman's sweep more so than anything.
I agree. I'm a big Knick guy and big Knick fan, but their rotation is so short. You only go 5 deep there. Celtics are hungry. They're the best team in the Eastern Conference until proven otherwise. But, you saw the Cavaliers. They had trouble, but Indiana's a team that matches up very well with the Cavaliers. The Knicks, they blew that big game against the Celtics earlier in the season. How do you beat this team? I mean, it's like a crapshoot. They have so many options. Brown, Tatum, Kristaps, great point guard, well coached. Thibodeau is going to have that face on the whole series, that scowl where he doesn't know what he's doing in the third and fourth quarter as these guys start to get tired. Brunson is amazing. He's like Superman. I mean, he twists, he turns, he's like a pretzel, and yet he still comes back. And, they definitely need Karl-Anthony Towns to have a huge series. OG has to get involved. Hart, these guys have to step it up to another level, which they are capable of with 9 points. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they could definitely fall within that, but this is going to be a tough series. When they get to the Garden, they have to win immediately. That crowd has to be off the hook. So, tough series. I definitely like the Celtics, but this game I might take a shot with the Knicks, take the 9 points. They've been playing, whereas the Celtics are just relaxing. They're resting on their laurels. They know they could beat this team. It's just a motivation factor with the Celtics to really just step up and blow them out, get prepared for Cleveland. Cleveland is already facing a 0-1 deficit. So, the Celtics want to get right out there running and gunning, but I think the Knicks can hang within the 9-point spread.
Give me the over here. 213 between these two. The last 2 series that they just played, Detroit and Orlando. We know that both of them are really good defensive teams. Now we're getting a super low total. I think we're going to see a lot of offense from both sides here in this first game. So nothing for me on series-wise, but game tonight, I really like this going over that.
There we go. And over for Alex here in game 1 between the Knicks and the Celtics. Dwayne, the other series that begins tonight, Oklahoma City and Denver. Tough draw for both the Nuggets and the Warriors, where they have to get only 1 day off after a game 7 and then flip around and play an opponent that's well-rested and, quite frankly, more talented than both of them. Under a 9.5 in this one, 226.5. Series price. Look, Dwayne, I don't know if Denver has enough in order to beat this Oklahoma City juggernaut, but I see books as high as plus 530 on Denver, and it's like, boy,
what a smack in the face.
That is such, I know, look, I understand, like, it's an interim coach against a team that's been clearly the best team in the NBA all year long, but you're giving me Jokic at plus 530 in a playoff series? That's kind of mad, but even with that said, Dwayne, I would wait till Oklahoma City wins tonight, because they're going to more likely than not. And then I would come back. If you like Denver in that series price, I would just take like that 8-1, 9-1 that's going to be available, assuming OKC handles their business here tonight at home.
Yeah, you're probably right. And, this is a solid roster for Denver. Don't get me wrong. Denver, if you look at during the regular season, when you look at these juggernaut teams, it always seems like the juggernaut teams had trouble when they faced the Nuggets. The Nuggets get up for these huge games. Keep that in mind. Whether it was OKC, whether it was the Rockets, whether it was the Lakers, you found that when they faced the Nuggets on the schedule, the Nuggets would get up for these bigger games. And the Joker's probably, going to go down as one of the best centers in NBA history. He does it all. He has a good supporting cast. There's definitely a chance here. But this juggernaut, what is it, like 57 games now and counting, winning by 10 or more points. They're a covering machine. It's 9.5. I would have made it 10 just to make it, parity, because they always win by 10 or more. So, this is a tough spot for Denver. They got to be a little tired. They went deep with that series with the Clippers, even though they blew them out in the last game. OKC, Gilgeous-Alexander's a beast. Might be the best player in the NBA right now. Got to take OKC tonight. Maybe take Denver, like you said, but this team's a juggernaut. They're going to be tough to beat. Best young team in the NBA.
Great points from both of you. Tough spot for the Nuggets and OKC, the covering machine.
Dwayne, they're listening to you. The market just moved to 10 completely on this game. So there you go. You ask, you shall receive.
There you go.
By the way, even though I'm saying like, oh, maybe Denver, like at a gigantic price after game one is worth it, Oklahoma City's going to still win this series. It's just like that sort of price is kind of crazy on what I think will be a 6 or a 7 game series. I think Denver is going to push them. Yeah. I just don't think they have enough in the stable in the end to realistically win this. Dwayne, before we look at Minnesota and Golden State, I want to ask you about last night, because you mentioned it earlier. Indiana took game 1 in Cleveland, and it kind of went under the radar with everything that happened because it was going on at the same time as game 7 in Winnipeg. Game 2, Cleveland is 10. We don't know if Darius Garland's going to be ready or not at any point in this series, especially game 2. I understand the zigzag. I understand that. But, boy, if Indiana plays like last night, this is going to be a very hard series for Cleveland to win, especially if Garland is not able to come back. By the way, Cavs are still minus 240 to win the series, down 1-0.
Yeah, they were shooting the lights out, though. The Pacers are a streaky team, and you look at it. Look at these guys. Nebhard, 5 of 6 from 3. Naismith, 4 of 6 from 3. Halliburton had a bad game. He was 2 of 6. But then you have Nathurin there. He was 3 for 5. You got Toppin. Obi was 1 for 2. So they were shooting the lights out. All of their 5 starters shot over 50%, other than Siakam. And he's a big guy, so, he's not expected to really dominate, but he should make those inside shots. But I kind of like Cleveland, but like you said, without Garland, it's going to be difficult. A lot of pressure on Donovan Mitchell, and that's a big, big spread right now. They didn't look like they were anywhere near taking control of that game at any point, and now you're talking about a 10-point spread. I would probably take the Pacers again, just because they're a very, very streaky team. When they get hot and Tyrese starts to, move the ball around, they could be very difficult to beat. Cleveland was a regular season team. This is another team that it's new, this situation now, where you're the big favorite and you're touted to play against the juggernaut Celtics, and you come right in and lose game 1 and get blown out, basically. So, a lot of pressure on Cleveland now. I would take the 10 points, but it is a nice spot for Cleveland to bounce back if Indiana starts to miss those 3-point shots.
Jeff made a great point earlier on. It was pretty easy series for Cleveland going up against Miami, who is pretty much already checked out of this season. And then the Pacers were really tested with the Bucks, Dame coming back. And I thought maybe we had the Bucks too high, but we might just have the Pacers too low. I think that 10 is very, very tempting here, that they can at least keep this game close. But we're used to seeing Cleveland make their threes, shooting 24%.
Yep.
Is not going to happen again. So I definitely expect a bounce back for the Cavs.
Like you said, I said it to you and Ryan before the show. It's easy to play against a team that's got 2 feet in Cancun already, like the Miami Heat did for Cleveland. So, but look, for Indiana, and you're right, Alex. Like, even though it was a 5
Isn't it great? Is this the only sport where like a team could just quit, like Miami quit, Dallas quit? We're we're not playing. We're not going to play. We're not going to give you any effort. We'll maybe show up one game because we win the playoffs. But, it's just like I can't understand how the landscape of the NBA has changed so drastically. Back in the 80s, 90s, these guys wanted to kill each other. Now, it's like a farce, basically. The Lakers didn't show up at all. They're not even in shape. They don't even care. I mean, LeBron is, don't get me wrong. LeBron is, the epitome of athleticism at his age. But I mean, half the team, like you look at Luka in the third quarter, when you're drained in the third quarter and all you're doing is shooting 40 footers, what is going on here? Somebody's got to step in and show a little leadership here. Maybe they need a new, head of the league. Maybe that Silver isn't working out. Somebody's got to motivate these players because you see it way too often where teams like Dallas, they just give up on the season and they're in playoff position. The Heat were in the playoffs, and now you're in Cancun, like Jeff said, with your reservations. They probably had it on the calendar. We'll lose this right here, and we'll be able to fly out. So,
Dwayne, I want to ask you about before we let you go, that last series, Minnesota Golden State. Alex and I will give our full picks of this series tomorrow, but I'm just curious your thoughts. T-Wolves are 7. Again, brutal spot for Golden State, like Denver. Only one full day off before having to play in round 2 after winning a 7th game in round 1. T-Wolves are minus 185. Look, the T-Wolves, maybe they get to the Western Conference Finals and lose again, but this is a franchise that has been as big of a loser franchise as anyone, other than a few years with Garnett. Maybe looking at back-to-back Western Conference Finals. That's pretty amazing for this franchise that and basically had done nothing. By the way, minus 185 on the Wolves in the series, Dwayne.
Yeah, definitely. You could see why A-Rod wanted a piece of his team. They play with a lot of heart. You have a great player in Anthony Edwards. He's a little outspoken and a little flamboyant, but he definitely backs it up, and he plays at a high level. But Golden State, Buddy Hield played very well last night. He was shooting the lights out, taking a little pressure off of Steph. Draymond, he's going to be tackling you, punching you, elbowing you. He's back to his dirty self. They have a good roster. This is going to be a tough series. It's going to test the youth of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And, they're going to need good play. DiVincenzo, Randall, these guys got to play hard, and they have to add to what Edwards brings to the table. Golden State is perfectly coached. They have coaches on the floor as well as Kerr on the bench. So it's going to be tough. They're going to have their work cut out for them, but I think Minnesota will squeeze by Golden State because of this advantage. All of a sudden now the NBA has got you playing on quick turnarounds, and then the finals, it'll take 3 weeks for it to happen. So, this is another problem with the NBA and its structuring of scheduling and forcing these kids have to play on a quick turnaround. So, sometimes it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And are you going to show up tonight, or are you going to play complacent? Jimmy Butler, he's that X factor. Let's see if we could get playoff Jimmy into the finals of the Western Conference. It's a possibility. They're so deep this year. And if Buddy continues to shoot well, it's going to be a long series. Yeah,
33 from Buddy Hield last night, but really turned the clock back to when he was, forget NBA, when he was at Oklahoma.
9 3-pointers.
Yeah, crazy night for Hield. Really, in the end, bailing Golden State out in a game that they ended up winning by 14.
Houston brought nothing. Houston looked like garbage, Jeff. I was the biggest advocate, and they brought nothing. Udoka was like shocked because it wasn't his fault. It was that they couldn't make a shot. They were just like playing like you would have thought it was game 12 of the regular season after just beating the team in Golden State. That was such a disappointment.
Yeah, I think they just ran out of gas, Dwayne. It just took so much effort.
They're so young. How do you run out of gas? Look, you're playing against 35, 40-year-old guys. Draymond and Curry were running around like exuberant, and these kids are like, oh.
The first playoff run against a team with that experience, just the mental aspect too. But they got it down to 4 midway through the third quarter, but that was the closest they got last night with Houston. Again, 6v7 in the West. He's Dwayne Colucci, NYBookie Dwayne on the tweets. Race and Sportsbook Director up at the Rampart every Monday with us here on Sports by the Book. DC, pleasure as always. We will see you again in 1 week's time.
Sounds great, guys. Thanks for having me on. Let's cash tickets, guys.
Absolutely. Dwayne Colucci, everyone. All right, quick break for us. Trivia question will be in the bottom. Baseball will be the topic next when we get back. 10 games on a Cinco de Mayo. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book. Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
This is the best sports betting network.
I would argue it is a total mismatch.
There's value with underdog prices in series.
I would lean to the under here.
My numbers are saying I got to bet the Tigers.
Two-way action.
When in doubt, we juice that favorite, that extra nickel.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
Forget about it. The best.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south-of-the-border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Back in at Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. Big thanks to our guy DC as always, being ready and energetic as always on a Monday morning. Yes. In the office here today for DC on a Monday. So Alex, we got 10 baseball games here on the Cinco de Mayo. And let's get to it. Let's start in Miami. Second time that Sandy Alcantara is going to see the Dodgers. First start did not go well against LA for Alcantara. Last time out, he only lasted 8 outs, 7 earned, 12 base runners. Not good for Sandy in this one. Marlins are plus 190 at home. It's going to be a bullpen game for LA. Minus 220 on the Dodgers, 9.5. Alex, I'm staying the heck away. And just wonder for Alcantara. Again, the last start he had was against these Dodgers. So this is back-to-back starts against LA. I don't know. Can't get much worse than it was in Dodger Stadium last week. But again, Alcantara has not been the same guy this year post Tommy John surgery.
No, he hasn't. And I don't expect it to just happen overnight. I think it's going to take at least half of the season here. So I would lean to the Dodgers. I don't really want to lay minus 140 on the run line here with the bullpen day, like you said, even though their starter has done good in the innings that he's pitched as a reliever here for them. Really, though, I mean, it's hard not to look at the over. 9.5 is so high. But in that first series, 34 runs scored by the Dodgers against the Marlins and 15. So Miami was able to put some up themselves, too. So it's a look at the Dodgers or the over, but I think I have some better plays on the board.
Going to Atlanta next. Braves. Good night last night. Oh, by the way, well, actually, one quick note on the Dodgers. Sorry, because Braves and Dodgers played on Sunday Night Baseball last night.
Right. So that's
travel for the Dodgers, but Atlanta to Miami is about as easy of a flight as you can humanly get. Just a shade over an hour and 25 minutes from Atlanta to Miami. All right, now we go back to Atlanta. Sorry, Ryan. Smith-Shawver against Singer, your pitching matchup for the Braves and the Reds. Austin Riley hit the 2 longest homers of baseball yesterday. Braves lose 2 out of 3, but they at least salvaged yesterday with a 4-3 win. Reds lose 2 out of 3 to Washington after losing 2 out of the last 3 to the Cardinals, splitting that 4-game series. So not a great week for the Reds. Minus 45 on the Braves, plus 130 on Cincinnati, total 8.5 for this one.
Perfect setup for me because I do love the Reds, and part of that is having that game last night for the Braves. And Riley was really one of the only guys to do anything offensively. My dad keeps talking about Brady Singer, such a good pickup for Cincinnati. I agree. Has had a very good year. Really is only, in his last 2 starts, just 2 earned runs against Miami and 1 against the Cardinals. So I think you're getting the better pitcher in this one, and I like the spot for them. So plus 130 is play for me.
Staying out. I just, maybe an over because I don't love Smith-Shawver on the Braves side. Again, Singer's pitched pretty well to begin the year. Tough. Again, this is a very difficult baseball card for me here for whatever reason on this Monday. We go to Chicago next. This is a great matchup midweek at Wrigley. Giants and Cubs, both teams off to great starts. Cubs in first place in the National League's Central Division. Giants entering the week technically in third place, but with the third best record in the National League at 22-13, game and a half behind LA. Roop and Boyd, Cubs $1.65, 7.5. Weather tonight at Wrigley Field real quick. It is cold.
Yeah.
And the wind is blowing slightly in. So that's why it's a 7.5 and not the greatest of pitchers here tonight. 7 mile an hour's in, 50 degrees at first pitch for Wrigley tonight.
Of course, Roop is like their 5th guy. Matthew Boyd, Cubs towards the end of their rotation as well, but I think he's really good. I definitely think that the Cubs have the advantage with the starting pitcher. I would look at them first 5, maybe minus half a run there. But you also have the better offense, and the Giants haven't been great against lefties. They're 18th in slugging, so I would only look at the Cubs here. But I think I'd rather just look at first 5, not have to worry about the bullpens between these two.
Going to St. Louis next, it would only be Cubs run line, but I hate doing home team run line in general. Really hate it with the wind blowing in at Wrigley, so we're going to stay out of that completely. St. Louis is next. Cardinals actually won their series against the Mets. They swept a doubleheader yesterday to take 2 out of 3. Michaelis minus 30 at home against Ladzinski of the Pirates, plus 115, total 8.5. I actually like St. Louis. This is the only thing on the card that I kind of like here tonight. At home, we've talked about it. Home road splits have been gigantic in baseball. None bigger than St. Louis. 12-6 at Busch Stadium, 4-13 away from it. Michaelis, a pitcher I do not like betting on, especially in 2025, but against a weak offense in Pittsburgh and at home, I like St. Louis tonight. $1.30 is a fair price on them.
Definitely one of the weaker offenses that we have going today. It would only be a play on the Cardinals for me as well at minus 130. I think they should probably be about minus 150 here against the Pirates. But I'm keeping an eye because really a lot of these games against the Pirates, the numbers, I might have them too low. I don't know, or the market has them higher than me. So we'll keep an eye and see how that goes. But against the Padres, it worked out more in my favor. But I'm with you. It's a lean to the home team here.
Up next, we go to Arizona. D-backs and Mets. These two teams played each other in New York last week. Mets lose that series. First losing week of the year for the Mets. Diamondbacks win that series, but then flip around and lose 2 out of 3 in Philadelphia.
Yep.
Now here at home, minus 15 on the D-backs, even on the Mets, total 9.5. Griffin Canning has been great so far this year. Ryan Nelson has been pretty average to begin his season. Not a huge sample size, but again, I'm very cautious here. I am expecting a little bit of regression from Canning at some point. Maybe it comes tonight. Mets also historically play great in Phoenix. Their best road record against any NL West opponent historically has come in Arizona.
See, and I already like the revenge here for the Mets with losing the first series against the Diamondbacks, so I want to find a way to back them. leaning to that way for the side, but I really like the over in this game. And I know 9.5 is really high, but Nelson, he started a lot more games last year, kind of just getting into the rotation now, just because of injury. So more of a relief guy through the start of this year. And then I think that the Diamondbacks can get to Canning a little bit. So I do like this over 9.5. I wonder if the first half would be a better. No, I think I want both bullpens in this as well. So that's the way I'm looking. 9.5.
Staying off would only be an overplay. I'm with you on that one, Alex. Going to Kansas City next. Royals, White Sox. It's Smith and Reagan's here today. Cole back after missing a start is minus 230. 7.5 total plus 195 on the White Sox. Royals yesterday hit 8 homers against Baltimore. Orioles, by the way, who are off, thankfully for their sake, continue to be a disaster zone. 230 is too steep to lay full game here for Reagan's. If anything, maybe just lay the run line with a big pitching advantage. But boy, Kansas City's offense, even with yesterday, still scares me, Alex.
And, last time that Smith was on the mound, I was trying to make a case for him. Did okay against the Brewers. 5 innings pitched, did give up 6 hits, just 1 earned run, though. But he started his control. He walked more guys than he has since the very first start of the year and had less strikeouts, which is 4. So that concerns me a little bit here against the Royals, who are playing pretty good, and their offense is definitely starting to get hot. But it would be a play on the dog plus 195 or if you made me play it.
I would love to play Kansas City. I just don't love the idea of laying a run line, even though, again, I don't know how are the White Sox going to score if Reagan's has his good stuff, even though, again, missed the start, did not pitch well the previous start before that. So a little bit cautious, a little bit maybe on Reagan's. And also, too, strikeout props, not as insane as they were the last time out. 8 is plus 115, 8 plus. Might not be bad, but it's just a matter of getting enough length here today from Cole.
Yes.
In that one. We go to Sacramento next. It's the A's and the Mariners. It's Bryce Miller. It's Elise Severino. Again, we know this ballpark has played to an over clip so far. As well expected, this is first and second place in the AL West entering the first full week of May. 20-13, Seattle 19-16, Athletics. Minus 110 on the Mariners, minus 105 on the takeback on the A's, total of 9. This is a good pitching matchup, but as always, with this way this ballpark is played, it is a little bit of a concern. How does this play at the major league level so far?
Yeah, you'd only want to play first 5 under, I think, but I do trust both of these pitchers here. These guys have already seen this lineup, so I don't know if that is more of a benefit to the hitters here in this one. Severino, though, first start of the year, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs for him, 6 strikeouts. He did have 4 walks in that one, and then, but they found a way to lose that game for him. And then on the other side, with Bryce Miller, 5 2/3, 6 hits, 3 runs. So, I mean, the Athletics definitely did get to him in that one in Seattle. So, I mean, it'd be a look at the Athletics here as the home team.
It would only be a look to the A's for me as well. Severino's not pitched well in Sacramento. That's really my only concern. And look, that's a problem because Sevy's under contract the next 3 years, and it's more likely than not that they're going to be playing all their games out there. Again, 5 earned against the Cubs. All right, whatever, Cubs offense mashes. Padres 5 earned. Pitch well against the Mets. Knows those guys well, pitched there last year. And then 6 innings, 3 earned against the White Sox. So again, much better on the road, where he's given up no more than 1 earn in any of his 4 road starts so far this year. All right, we'll go to D.C.
And
sorry,
this Mariners team has been,
Mariners, look, if Seattle's going to hit, the Mariners are the best team in the American League to me, if they're going to hit. We've talked about it. Their bullpen's good. Their starters are obviously top-notch. They're going to hit. They are the best team in the American League. Them and Detroit. Detroit hit the most homers that franchise has hit in a 7-game span ever this past week. So Tigers and Mariners, 2 top teams in the American League right now entering the week. We go to D.C. next. Guards, Nats, Irvin, Ortiz, total of 9 at Nats Park here tonight. Cleveland, small favorite, minus 115, even on Washington on the takeback. Irvin coming off getting bombarded by Philadelphia's last time out.
Yeah, I still think that these are two pretty good pitchers going today. I think that 9 is crazy for these offenses and these starters here. First 5 under is even money at 4.5. That is one way I'd like to look at it too. But I think actually 4.5. That's right where their median is. So I'm going to need both of them. With Ortiz's 2.5 median, and then on the other side with Irvin it is 2. But like I said, neither offense is doing anything, and the Guardians have definitely cooled down with their bats.
I would only be a look to Cleveland here, but again, Irvin, I was on him against Philadelphia, got crushed. So that might just be me with a little bit of recency bias more so than anything. All right, now we get the matchup of the day, unless you have one other thing.
That one's really tough because with the Guardians case, I want the bullpen to help out. With the Nationals, I do not. So it's like, do I take full game under 9 or first 5?
Guardians 20-14. I don't think the Guards have even played that well, and they're still 6 games over. So credit to them for a nice start to the year. All right, now the game of the day. We go to the Bronx. Great pitching matchup. Excellent teams. Yanks, Padres. Yanks are minus 50, total of 8. Aaron Judge, as we do Judge Watch here. And look, Judge is full of obscene stats. Judge is hitting 423. He's 11 homers already, 33 driven in, 55 hits. MLB on Fox tweeted this out earlier, and I had to double check it because of how obscene it is. Aaron Judge's BABIP, so batting average on balls in play this year, is 500, which is obviously outrageous in any way, just ridiculous. Again, I think we're seeing an all-time player that's just hiding in plain sight, at least for me at this point. Totals 8. Pavetta's on the bump for the Pods. This is one of those where I might want to actually take the Padres' first 5 plus a half a run. That would be kind of what I look at here. I wish I was getting better to minus 125. Wish it was closer to around a flip. But Pavetta's been dominant so far this year. And Rodon's been darn good. He just hasn't been as good as Pavetta. And again, with that offense, short porch, Padres coming off a sweep as well, so you got to add that in where they tormented Pittsburgh for the weekend. It would be Padres' first 5 plus a half a run, the only thing I'd look at here, Alex.
I like, and I was just pulling up first 5 and what the numbers were. I was actually just looking at Padres to have the lead here, get plus 120. So I like that angle as well. But definitely looking at first 5 for them. Pavetta has been so good. 39 strikeouts to just 8 walks on the year, and his median earned run is under 1. It's half. So I definitely think that's the right side. I was looking at first 5 under for the game, 4.5, but I am a little bit nervous with both of these offenses. They can definitely get some runs on the board.
Great matchup, great series to kick off your week in the Bronx between 2 of the best in baseball. Again, Yankees, not a great week. They're only 4 games over, but the middling AL East has kept them in first place. 2 games ahead of Boston and 3 in front of Toronto and Tampa are both under 500. Last game on the board, we go to Milwaukee. It's Myers and Blanco tonight. Brewers and Stros. Brewers minus 10, Stros minus 05. Total 8.5 at AmFam tonight, Alex White.
It would only be a look at the Astros here, but I don't really love it at all. I think that number is pretty much right at a pick 'em here. So this was an easy pass for me between these two.
Before we get the whiteboard and the trivia answer here on a Monday, check in with the chat real quick. Dean was on Sovereignty, so shout out, Dean. Good work. Nick pointing out the Canes doesn't believe the Canes have a true superstar on their roster. I love Sebastian Aho. I don't know if he's quite at that level, so I'm with Nick on that. The rest of the chat, JR, Astros 7 straight overs, Cardinals 5 straight overs. Again, Cardinals at home have been a great over team to begin the year. All 3 of those games flew over with ease against the Mets over the weekend. Chris Warren, I think it might be the first time for Chris on the Reds today, plus 120 at home, or on the road, I should say. And then Daryl is on the first 5 under in Kansas City tonight with the Royals and the White Sox. Again, chat along, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you're following us on social media as well. And also, of course, all things South Point, SouthPointCasino.com. Trivia question today was horse racing. Actor Otto Thorwarth portrayed which fellow jockey, also Otto was a jockey himself, in a classic 2010 biopic. And this was one where Vince, people did not read this correctly, right? At first. So we were looking for the actual jockey. We were not looking for the horse here in this one. The horse, of course, was Secretariat. The jockey was Ron Turcotte. And JR got that right. So Ron Turcotte was the answer. Of course, Secretariat, the greatest horse that's ever lived. Famously met by Mike Francesa himself as well. That is a reference for maybe 3 people that are watching this show here today. But JR got it right. But there were several who got it right with Secretariat as well. So good on you for knowing Secretariat. But we were looking for the jockey. So JR was first on that one, Alex.
Is he starting off 3-0?
It's 3 days in May? Yeah, 3-0. Yeah, might be more JR comps coming this way here in May. All right, Ryan, you can play the intro here. Alex White on a Monday, Cinco de Mayo. Hope you're enjoying your Cinco de Mayo out there. Alex, what do you like here today on a Monday?
All right, I like 2 overs in NBA. I think we're going to see a lot of points between these two. Knicks and Celtics over 213, and then Denver and OKC over 226.5. With MLB, I do like the Cincinnati Reds as a dog on the road. Plus 130 is the best price I see out there. Padres first 5. I'm going to go plus 120 there. And then Guardians and Nats under 4.5 for the first 5, even money. Leafs, even money to get the first win here in game 1 against Florida. That is my NHL play of the day.
2 overs in the NBA. But you know what? If you're ever going to go overs in the playoffs, game 1 is the time to do it. And both the ones tonight with the Nuggets, Thunder, and Knicks and Celtics. I will say this. I am on the Leafs in this series. I just want to make sure I give the right price that I got because they're all pretty similar. I got plus 160. That's what I got. There is plus 165 out there. So that's what I got on Toronto. I also am betting Washington as well. I'm going to go get the best price, which is plus 155. I actually like all the 3 dogs and VGK. Probably will end up on all 3 of those series when it's all said and done in the NHL. Or all 4 of them, I should say. I
do too, and we didn't really talk about my series prices, but I really have Florida about minus 120.
So tight. So
getting plus 160, there's definitely some value there.
Yeah, hey, look, at some point, Toronto's got to bust through. At least make the Cup final, right? Even if they don't win it.
Yeah.
Again, I do like the winner in the Toronto-Florida series to win the Eastern Conference over whoever comes out of the Metro pot. All right, that's all we got. Alex, good job. Good luck. Let's start the week with a 6-0 here. Let's start there.
Yeah, remember just 1 unit plays here. Yep. I do have a lot of dogs actually, and a lot of even money. So
a 4-2 would be a nice little profit here today, especially if it's the dogs that are losing as opposed to the overs. Ryan, Drew Dog, Jerry, Vince, and thank you all, Sean, wherever your off day may be taking you. Enjoy it as well. I'm Jeff Parles. This has been Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio. We're back right here, 22 hours and 55 minutes from now, right here, live 10 a.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday, right here on the channel. Sports by the Book. See you next time here at the South Point Studio.